first decade of the 21st century, there's been such rapid technological growth that many mobile devices such as cell phones or iPods have become part of our everyday lives. And in fact, they're starting to come into another part of our lives that really they haven't been in that much before. That's our education systems. There's a study on at Howick College that's considering whether or not mLearning is an effective educational tool or not. Is this a good thing? Are we finally embracing technologies in our schools? Or is this a bad thing? Are we going to harm our children's developments as adults? Let's find out. So before we begin, if you're a little bit confused about what mLearning is, here's Nathan Kerr, the teacher from Howick College who's behind it all, to tell us what it's about.
mLearning stands for mobile learning, and mobile learning is putting digital lessons, be it a movie, be it an interview like so, into a mobile device. So you're looking at your phones, for instance, your iTouches, even if you're lucky enough to have an iPad at this time.
And so from that definition alone, we can take an immediate positive. We've gone from using these things for our communication to simply pulling out a mobile device from our pocket. We can text, we can pix, we can social network, you can even call if you still do that nowadays. Newest and most technological advanced schools in the country. Chris Blewett, a senior leader here at Mission Heights, is a close family friend and also agreed to talk to me.
It aligns with the New Zealand curriculum that was introduced in 2007 that all secondary schools should be implementing by this year, where we look at 21st century learning.
Students are also given their own unique ID card. This allows them to access the specially built computers.
It's part of managing themselves. If they don't come with the ID card, they can't access their learning.
Got them, I guess. Let's use them.
If they've got applications or whatever that help you to learn, then sure.
And phones, they're still going to have them in their bag. So let's just look at why set up a problem when you can alleviate it by asking the students to be responsible.
I emailed Tony Tuss from the University of Waikato, a keen supporter of mobilising education, for her comments. Mobile devices enable students to do things they might not otherwise have been able to do because of limited school access to technology. In fact, we can look at these devices in a more positive way. CIA data suggests that in 2008 there are around 4.6 million cell phones in New Zealand. And although at the moment that is 91st in the world, it also means that New Zealand has more cell phones per head than any other country in the world. So we can look at this technology as something we already have. We don't need to spend a lot of money investing in infrastructure to support these devices. We can just get on and use them.
Learn in a way that they actually appreciate and like.
It engages students straight away.
So near the end they're teaching me how to do it.
The learning fits with their style.
It allows portability, so you're learning anytime, anywhere.
It's also about personalised learning. So we believe in giving students choices about the way in which they learn. We recognise learning styles.
So simple but so effective.
The mobile phone has so many functions that students can use their own technologies with their learning.
Yes, the mobile phone has so many functions, and for a half decent one, it's really not that expensive. So it's a win-win situation.
A lot of them been actually videotaping or taking pictures using their mobile devices of lessons on boards, so they can actually look at it later on in their own time.
Students who are new immigrants to the country, they travel overseas a lot to their families in school time, but they can still access their learning from home.
We have to rethink the fundamental principles on which we're educating our children. My contention is that creativity now is as important in education as literacy, and we should treat it with the same status.
Technologies today support all the creative thinking.
You come in, you get your learning, and that's fine, but it doesn't work for all students.
I am not suggesting that we pass everyone to make them feel good. I'm suggesting that we look at a wider matrix of skills that are valued in schools, rather than just whether or not they pass exams.
By giving them the opportunities at our school, we have students there at 7:30 in the morning, as early as they possibly can get there, and we've still got them there at 5 o'clock at night because they really enjoy the environment in which we're providing for them to learn.
Americans were far more enthusiastic than I was. A lot of their students have up to 3 or 4 or even 5 mobile devices.
It's one of the biggest drawbacks to this could be positive tool for education. Text bullying. It's no laughing matter and it's still going on throughout New Zealand schools. And in fact, a mother of a boy who committed suicide back in 2003 is alarmed and outraged that educators will even consider using mobile phones in the classroom.
Yeah, well, give someone a tool to bully and they'll use it.
Well, I'm not in favour of actually having a mobile phone in the classroom.
So the students are allowed their phone if it's to do with learning at any time. However, they need to know when the appropriate time is.
Some of the students will take advantage of situations.
These devices are fantastic tools to support learning. However, they rely on good teaching practice to be effective. There would need to be clear guidelines surrounding their use.
I think students need to be educated about the risks in text bullying.
Sure, of theft, but so borrow each other's phones without asking for permission, which is a nice way of saying stealing.
This is Williamson Senior College. It opens next year in 2011 and will cater for years 11 to 13 students. No doubt it will offer NCEA, but here comes my next problem with it. NCEA as it currently stands doesn't allow for a lot of technical innovation. So I emailed NCEA and I got a response. NCEA is aware that with the implementing of new teaching methods, these may have a follow-on effect for the assessment of students. NCEA will however only formulate external assessments based on the curriculum. NCEA is currently completing a scoping project to look into the feasibility of an online marking solution for the NCEA external examinations.
Once the student left our school and went to, say, a more traditional school, they wouldn't be able to, they'd find it quite difficult not being able to access information and process information when they wanted to.
Yes, students coming from other schools such as Mission Heights, which are a little bit more technically innovative, will find it difficult adapting to the less technical ways of NCEA. But NCEA did acknowledge these new technologies and they're looking into it. So watch this space. Of course, this brings up the terminology digital native and digital immigrant. Now, a digital native is someone that was born during or just when the digital era starts. Now, a digital immigrant is someone that was born prior to the digital age.
Quite a lot of learning for the teachers on their part. Although they may well be IT literate and well up with all the latest technologies, it's doing it in a way that we use it. How's it going to enhance the learning as opposed to just using it for the sake of using it?
So mLearning's here to stay.
I'll admit when I started making this documentary that I was firmly against mLearning, but since talking to Nathan Kerr and many others who are really passionate about mLearning, I've come around to the fact that it is quite a good thing. And although the cell phones are a huge problem, I don't think they're going to be part of mLearning's future. I think they cause too many problems and they're a huge distraction from our learning. These are, of course, though, are my opinions. It involves education, so it's highly controversial and everyone has their own opinions about what's good and what's not. The full report of mLearning does come out in November 2010 from Waikato University, so stay tuned because mLearning is here to stay.